Hey guys, welcome back to another video. In this one we have a very good one. We're actually doing a reaction video to one of my favorite mentors, Alex Hormozi, where he actually explains the most important metrics that you need to look out for when you're starting to do marketing and starting to do paid ads. So let's get started.
What's going on, everyone? If you've ever struggled to figure out all the different numbers in marketing and figure out what's important, what's not important, what's good, what's bad, and you just can't get your stuff to convert, or you can't make sense of all this stuff, then this video is for you. All right. So when I got into marketing, there were so many different numbers: KPIs, CPL, CPC, like CTR. I had no idea. My head was spinning. I was trying to figure it out. And over time,
Let me try to get it a bit slower. Okay, at normal speed.
and it's kind of like you start to distill down what are the big buckets of things that matter, and then once you discover what those three are, then you can open up the drawer and look for more details and whatnot. And so what I want to do is outline the three numbers that I'm looking at a high level in any business that I'm looking to invest in, or I'm looking.
So what I really like about it is that right at the start he actually says and simplifies that. So everything he does is very, very simplifying and just like having a lot of different examples of it. So you'll see in the rest of the video. It's very, very clear what you need to look out for, and basically just eliminating all the distractions, because there's so many different metrics that people are looking at. But just look at some and yeah, let's get
Looking to partner with or whatever. All right. And I'll show you the relationship between them that I am looking for, and hopefully that will help you for your own business. So the first number is what my cost of acquisition is, which I call CAC. All right, that's not I call.
Some people call it CPA, so cost per acquisition, or cost acquisition cost, as he called it right here. It's all the same.
Oh, that's what people call it, right? Cost of acquisition, or CAC, right? So how much does it cost me to acquire a customer? Now, this number should include everything. So that means your sales commission, that means your ad spend, it means the marketing team that created the inquiries, whatever. Your software that's associated with it. It's all of the costs of acquisition put together. That is CAC, all right? Number two is LTV. Now, I define this a little bit differently because I think it's important. So LTV is not the total revenue that I'm going to get over the lifespan of a customer, but for me, it's the total gross profit that I'm going to get over the lifespan of a customer. So let me give you a simple example. So if I were selling meals, for example, or selling food, and my cost of delivering food, let's say, was $9, all right? And I know that someone's going to order $700 a month of food, and it costs me $9, and I'm selling it for $10. All right, that means I only have a 10% margin on gross profit, right? Gross profit on the meal sold. And so $700 of food over the lifespan of a customer might sound like a huge LTV, but the reality is it's actually only 70, which is what I'm going to make on that customer.
So basically what he's saying right here is that he calculates the lifetime value, not just like how much you got out of the customers, but actually how much profit you got out of the customers. So he like excludes all of the, let's say if you have a physical product, so it's shipping, or if it's like basically everything that you need to do in order to deliver the product. Okay, so I guess that makes sense. So for this, I would call, instead of LTV, he calls it lifetime gross profit. So it's like LTPV. Okay, but basically it's like everything that you need to do in order to get your customers inside your business.
Right. And so the reason I use gross profit is that if I were doing marketing for food, for example, and my marketing was like, hey man, we're spending $200 to acquire a customer who's going to pay us $700. I would be like, that's horrible, because we only make $70 on the 700, which means that we're spending 200 to make 70.
So in here, he just said that, yes, well, you obviously, if you're spending $200 and getting 700, it would look very, very good. But if out of that $700, you're only making $70, because again, he's making gross profit $1 for every, $1 for every $10 he actually makes. Okay, so he's getting like 10% on it. So he's getting 10% on that $700, so it's $70. Okay, so this is how he calculates it. So obviously he's actually making $70, and as his media team said for that example, he's getting a cost of acquisition of $200. So obviously he's paying a lot more than he actually acquires.
Right, and that's why it's so important to understand the gross margin of your business, right? Because this is where all of your decisions should be based off of. All right, it's on that margin. The third number is what I call 30-day cash. All right. Now, in the formal business world, the fancy world, they call this, they use a different metric. They call it payback period, which is how long does it take you to pay back your cost of acquisition, right? Because inherently, whenever you're getting a customer, there's usually a cost that's put into it. And that cost there's always a cost. You're either paying in time or you're paying in money, or you're paying in someone else's time, which is then payroll hours, but there's always a cost, right? There's a cost of acquiring a customer, and then you have the payback period. I use 30-day cash for this reason. I think that virtually every business can gain access to a credit line, which means a credit card or an Amex or even a bank can loan you whatever, where over 30 days they can use that money and then pay it back virtually interest-free. Credit cards are all interest-free for the first 30 days, all right, or at least all the ones I'm aware of, right? And so what that means is that if I can know what my 30-day cash value is, and if I can get that to be at least equal to my CAC, then it means that I can use other people's money to acquire customers. And this is why we've had such big growth in the companies that I've had, is that I don't actually need to use my own money to acquire customers. I can use someone else's money, acquire them, get the money in the first 30 days to pay back the debt, and now I'm left over with customers, and ideally customers and profit that I can still continually upsell.
So what he's saying right here is obviously like he's calculating the money over a 30-day period. So after 30 days from the day that customers bought our product, what happens after those 30 days? Maybe he bought some more product, maybe you've upsold it, maybe he bought like a very high ticket after 30 days. So what happens after 30 days? So what ideally he wants to happen, and what ideally we all want to happen, is that after 30 days we are still left with profit. So if a customer bought a product of us for $10, and after 20 days he bought another 10, and after 10 days he bought another 10. So after 30 days he bought a total of $30, right? And let's say our cost of acquisition, the first one over here, is $10. Okay, so it costed us $10 to get the customer out in the door and into our services, and overall after 30 days we got $30. So minus 10, because this is the cost of acquisition, we are left with $20 and the customer. So what happened here is obviously we already have that customer, so we can upsell them more. Maybe they will buy more after 40 days or after 50 days. So we still have the customers, and we have leftovers, which is the customer's money, which is the $20, which we can then allocate that money into getting new customers. So obviously what's happening here, so we have the customer, and we're actually using that customer's money, the money that he paid us over those 30 days, and using that money to get new customers into the business. And this is what he calls like financing acquisition, where you will like financing, or like using the customer's money that we got over the 30-day period into getting new customers into the business.
Into continuity. If you can understand the words that I'm saying right now, you'll understand how big of a deal this is.
It is.
All right? So what are the relationships that I'm looking for? So for me, for LTV, like if I'm looking at it, because there's different relationships that I need to draw here, and when I'm looking about how the marketing's working. All right, so my LTV to CAC ratio, I want to always have greater than 3 to 1. All right, 3 to 1 is the number that I am looking for, which means that I need to be able to generate more than 3 times the cost of acquisition in gross profit. All right, so that means that let's say my gross profit, I'll give another number. Let's say that my gross profit on a service that I sell is 80%. All right, we'll use that as a number. And so it's 80% is my gross profit, and I have a $1,000 lifetime. All right, that's how much they're going to spend with me over the lifetime, which means $800 is what I am going to use as my number. Now, if $800 is what I make, then I have to, 3 to 1, be able to acquire customers for less than $266, right? So my cost of acquisition has to be less than $266, all right? That's the total thing. Now, that's the first relationship that I'm going to look at. The next relationship that I'm going to look at is the 30-day cash requirement compared to my CAC. And so for me, if I have a one-to-one relationship between my 30-day cash and my CAC, then that means that I am breaking even on getting customers, all right? And I'm breaking even within a window that I can use other people's money to finance the acquisition. And that's where this gets super cool, all right? And so using the example that we just had, if $260 is what it has to be under, right, for me to get 3 to 1, then let's say that if I can just get my 30-day cash to be greater than 260, then it means that in the first 30 days, I'm breaking even in my acquisition for free, and then I'm still going to collect the other 500 and whatever dollars. That's for.
So let me just break it down over here. So he over here calculated his LTV to CAC ratio. So obviously, as you can see here, the number is 800. So 800 is the lifetime gross profit over here, the LTV. Okay, and obviously the CAC ratio is 266. So in order for him to still be profitable and still make this business viable, he needs to make sure his CAC is less, cost per acquisition is less than 266. Now, if it's after 30 days, less than 266, so as we said earlier, we are left with the profit and we are left with the customers, and obviously we get to keep the rest of the 500 for 30 54
remaining from this process. And so those are the two biggest relationships that I'm looking at. What's my LTV to CAC ratio and what's my 30-day cash to CAC ratio? All right, I want this to be greater than 3 times what it cost me to acquire a customer, and that is how I know I'll have sufficient profit to grow the business. I want my 30-day cash and my CAC to be at least greater than 1, so that I know that I can use other people's money, OPM, to acquire customers. All right, this is what it looks like visually.
So again, as he said, as he summarized it, 3 to 1 on the LTV. So lifetime gross profit needs to be 3 times bigger than the amount that we invested in the CPA, so the cost per acquisition. So our cost per acquisition needs to be a third of what our lifetime gross profit is from our customers that we acquire. Okay, and we need to have a 1-to-1 ratio between the 30-day cash, which means like the 30-day cycle that it takes us to get the customers. Okay, so the 30 days after a customer paid. So that needs to be at least 1-to-1 from our cost per acquisition, so we don't lose money on the customer. But if obviously we want it to be better, because after 30 days we can get the money that's left over after a customer paid and use it to finance the acquisition to new customers into our business.
Person comes in the business, let's say I pay $200 in CAC, all right? So I'm now negative $200.
Yes, so it costs $200 to get a customer into our business, let's say.
This person now comes into my business. They've got their little money. They come into my business. They decide to give me money, right? Now, at this point, this could be, day 1, and this could be day 7, whatever, because it depends how long it takes them to give me money, right? And so maybe.
And in marketing agencies, it doesn't happen overnight, as you probably know. The acquisition journey takes a little bit longer, so it does actually make sense that after 7 days of trying to get a customer, you actually get them to pay.
The first time they give me money, they
maybe do have like a free trial or something like this. So yeah, it makes sense.
They give me $50, right? I'm still negative.
Yes, so here is still 150 negative.
But by day 30, let's say I have another upsell or 2, and at this point now I've made $200 on this customer. What this means is that now I've covered my cost of acquisition, and then at the end of this point, I'm going to continue to sell them.
It still has that customer.
Let's say it's on recurring, day 60, day 90, day 120, etc. And I was able to break even to then get all of this money that happens on the back end for free. That is the power of this.
Because think of it this way: once you have your marketing agency set up and everything is on point, once you get the customer, and all you have to do is just make sure he keeps like getting into with you on a retainer every single month. Because every month, if you're, let's say, charging $3,000 a month, and your cost at the first 30 days was $1,000 a month to get the customers in the door, so for the first month, maybe you got only $2,000 because obviously it took $1,000 to get your customer. But the second month, now you're up $3,000. Okay, so actually you're up $5,000 because on the first month you were up $2,000. Okay, and then you get another three. So each time, you just need to make sure that on the 30-day mark you break even, or even make better, but at least break even. Okay, so the cost per acquisition needs to be even to how much they paid over a 30-day period.
Concept. And so to summarize that,
and then you get like to keep the customer for obviously 60 days, 90 days, 120 days, whatever, as long as we can. Okay,
the three numbers that you need to always know when you're marketing is going to be your CAC, it's going to be your LTV,
and the 30 days.
That is the gross profit, not the total revenue, and the 30-day cash that you can make per customer. And you need to break even on 30-day cash to CAC, and you want this to be at least 3 times greater than your cost of acquisition for you to have a viable business. And that is the game that I try to play. So.
Yes. Okay. Thank you, guys. This is obviously the end of the lecture. I really liked him. Alex Hormozi is very, very good at explaining things. He's very good at simplifying concepts. Okay, and he's very big on big concept, making you big money, and just making sure you're very everything is very understandable. So I really like this presentation. I think it's super, super important and vital for every business. Even if you're at the start, it's important that you know your CAC, how much it costs you to get a customer, even if right now it's free. Later on, you'll dabble with paid ads, so you do want to know how much it costs you to acquire customers. What's your LTV, what lifetime gross profit, how much it takes you to acquire a customer. How much money are they spending over a lifetime of gross profit in your business. Lifetime gross profit means all of the money that your customers pay you minus all of the fulfillment cost. So if you have any fulfillment cost, if you have employees, stuff like this, subscriptions, all that goes into here, because obviously you need to subtract that from over here, because that's the maintenance that you have for retaining that customer. So all of that you need to subtract from the lifetime value in order to get the lifetime gross profit. And after you get that, you obviously need to know that the 30-day cash and how much are they spending over a 30-day period. And after you can know that, you can obviously know everything. So you know the 1-to-1 ratio between the CAC and the 30 days, and the ratio of 3-to-1 between the cost of acquisition and the lifetime gross profit.
Anyways, I hope that was valuable for you. I hope when you're looking at
Okay, guys. Yes, this is it. I really like it. I like this presentation. I hope you liked it as well. If you like this video, make sure to share with a friend. And yes, I see you in the next one.